Welcome back. Throughout history, people have searched for the ultimate secret to wealth. They look for hidden formulas, secret investments, and magical incantations. But the most powerful formula for wealth is not hidden at all. It is recorded in one of the most famous texts in human history. It is the exact prayer used by the ancient king, the man widely considered to be the wealthiest individual who ever lived. Today, I am going to reveal the specific words he used, the spiritual mechanics behind them, and how you can use this exact same prayer to unlock infinite abundance in your own life. Before we dive into the words of the king, I want to invite you to explore the Torah Millionaire Business School. This is a complete 14-module educational program that explores the Torah, Talmud, and Kabbalah perspectives on money, work, and stewardship. It is designed to help you build unshakable financial foundations based on divine principles. You can find the link in the description below. Now, let us begin. To understand the power of the king's prayer, we must first understand the context. The king had just become king. He was young, inexperienced, and overwhelmed by the responsibility of leading a massive nation. God appeared to him in a dream and said, "Ask what I shall give you." This is the moment that defined the king's life and his legacy. He could have asked for the destruction of his enemies. He could have asked for a long life. He could have asked for mountains of gold. But he did not. Instead, he prayed a very specific prayer. He said, "O Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of my father, but I am a little child. I do not know how to go out or come in. And your servant is in the midst of your people whom you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to be numbered or counted. Therefore give to your servant an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil." This is the prayer that unlocked the greatest fortune in human history. But why? Why did asking for an understanding heart result in infinite wealth? To understand this, we must break down the prayer into its three core spiritual components: humility, service, and discernment. The first component is radical humility. The king begins by saying, "I am a little child. I do not know how to go out or come in." He is the king of a powerful nation, yet he approaches the Creator with absolute vulnerability. He admits that he does not have all the answers. He admits that his own intellect is insufficient for the task ahead. In the spiritual economy, arrogance is a repellent to wealth. When you believe that you know everything, that your success is entirely due to your own brilliance, you close yourself off to divine guidance. You become a closed system. But humility creates a vacuum. When you admit your limitations, you create space for the infinite wisdom of the Creator to flow into you. Let me tell you about Arthur. Arthur was a highly successful day trader. He had made millions in his 20s by taking massive risks. He believed he was a genius, smarter than the market and smarter than his peers. He never asked for advice, and he certainly never prayed for guidance. He relied entirely on his own intellect. But markets change. When a new algorithmic trading system disrupted his strategies, Arthur refused to adapt. His arrogance blinded him to the new reality. He doubled down on his old methods, convinced he was right. Within a year, he had lost his entire fortune. Arthur's arrogance had destroyed his vessel. He had to hit rock bottom before he could learn the lesson of the king. He had to admit that he was, metaphorically, a little child who did not know how to go out or come in. When he finally humbled himself, sought out mentors, and began to pray for guidance rather than just success, his financial life began to rebuild. He learned that humility is the prerequisite for sustainable wealth. The second component of the king's prayer is a focus on service. He says, Your servant is in the midst of your people. Give to your servant an understanding heart to judge your people. Notice that the king is not asking for something for himself. He is asking for a tool to help him serve others. He wants an understanding heart so that he can be a better king for the people. This is the ultimate secret to unblocking your financial prayers. If you pray for $1 million so that you can buy a mansion and isolate yourself from the world, your prayer is weak. It lacks spiritual lift. But if you pray for $1 million so that you can build a business that employs hundreds of people, or so that you can fund a school, or so that you can provide for your family and community, your prayer becomes incredibly powerful. The universe is designed to support those who support the whole. When your request is aligned with the well-being of others, the Creator will route resources through you. You become a channel for divine blessing. Consider the story of Beatrice. Beatrice was a talented software engineer who wanted to start her own tech company. For years, she prayed for venture capital funding. Her pitch was all about how her app would make her rich and famous. Investors consistently turned her down. They could sense her self-centered motivation. Beatrice learned about the king prayer and realized her mistake. She completely changed her approach. She stopped focusing on how the app would benefit her and started focusing on how it would solve a critical problem for small business owners. She changed her prayer. She said, "God, give me the resources and the wisdom to build a tool that will help these small businesses thrive." When she pitched her new vision, the energy was entirely different. Investors were drawn to her passion for service. She secured the funding she needed, and her company became a massive success. She achieved the wealth she had originally desired, but only after she shifted her focus from self to service. The third component of the king's prayer is the request for discernment. He asks for an understanding heart that I may discern between good and evil. In Hebrew, the phrase understanding heart is lev shomeah, which literally translates to a listening heart. The king is not asking for a higher IQ. He is not asking for more data. He is asking for the ability to listen deeply, to perceive the truth beneath the surface, and to make righteous decisions. In the world of business and finance, discernment is the most valuable asset you can possess. Discernment is what allows you to see a bad deal disguised as a good one. It is what allows you to recognize a trustworthy partner and avoid a toxic one. It is what allows you to anticipate market shifts before they happen. A listening heart is attuned to the subtle frequencies of the universe. Let us look at Julian. Julian was a real estate developer who was presented with an opportunity to buy a massive tract of land at a steep discount. On paper, the numbers looked incredible. His accountants and lawyers all advised him to take the deal immediately. But Julian practiced the king prayer. He asked for a lev shomeah, a listening heart. He spent a weekend in quiet reflection, tuning out the noise of his advisors and listening to his intuition. He felt a deep, inexplicable unease about the property. Despite the pressure, he decided to walk away. A month later, it was revealed that the land was heavily contaminated with toxic waste, a fact the sellers had carefully hidden. The developers who eventually bought the land went bankrupt, trying to clean it up. Julian's listening heart had saved him from financial ruin. His discernment was worth more than any financial model. When you combine these three elements, humility, service, and discernment, you create a spiritual formula that the universe cannot ignore. God's response to the king proves this. God said, "Because you have asked this thing, and have not asked for long life, nor have you asked for riches for yourself. Behold, I have given you a wise and understanding heart, and I have also given you that which you have not asked, both riches and honor. Because the king asked for the right thing, he received everything. This is the paradox of wealth. When you chase money directly, it often eludes you. But when you chase wisdom, service, and an understanding heart, money chases you. So, how do you apply the exact prayer of the ancient king to your life today? You do not need to be a king to use this formula. You simply need to adapt the words to your own circumstances. Start your morning by finding a quiet place. Acknowledge your limitations. Say, Creator of the universe, I admit that my own understanding is limited. I do not have all the answers. I am like a child navigating a complex world. Then state your intention to serve. Say, I am surrounded by people who need value, who need solutions, and who need leadership. I want my work to be a blessing to them. Finally, ask for the listening heart. Say, therefore, give your servant a listening heart. Give me the wisdom to discern between good opportunities and bad ones. Give me the clarity to make decisions that align with your will and bring true value to the world. When you pray this prayer sincerely, you will notice a shift in your daily life. You will become less reactive and more observant. You will start to see opportunities that you previously missed. You will find yourself making better decisions, avoiding costly mistakes, and attracting people who want to collaborate with you. Think about Vivian. Vivian was a mid-level manager who felt stuck in her career. She started praying the King prayer every morning before she went to the office. She stopped praying for a promotion and started praying for a listening heart to better serve her team. The change in her leadership style was profound. She started listening more than she spoke. She became highly attuned to the needs and strengths of her employees. She made strategic decisions that improved efficiency and morale. Her department became the most productive in the company. The executives noticed. When the position of vice president opened up, Vivian was the obvious choice. She received the promotion, the title, and the massive salary increase. She achieved the riches and honor, but they came as a byproduct of her listening heart. The exact prayer of the ancient king is not a magic spell. It is a realignment of your spiritual posture. It moves you from a posture of grasping and demanding to a posture of receiving and serving. It transforms you from a consumer of wealth into a creator of value. Do not spend another day begging the universe for money. Change your request. Ask for the wisdom to manage wealth, the humility to receive guidance, and the listening heart to serve the world. When you do, you will unlock the same divine flow that made the king the richest man alive. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery. May you seek an understanding heart, and may your life be filled with the infinite abundance of the Creator. Shalom. To fully integrate the power of the King's Prayer into your life, we must explore the concept of the Lev Shomea, the listening heart, in greater depth. In our modern, hyper-connected world, true listening is a rare and precious commodity. We are constantly bombarded with noise, notifications, opinions, and data. Our minds are always racing, always calculating, always preparing our next response. In this state of constant mental agitation, it is impossible to hear the subtle guidance of divine wisdom. A listening heart is not just about hearing the words of others. It is about hearing the silence between the words. It is about perceiving the underlying truth of a situation, the hidden motivations of a business partner, or the unspoken needs of a market. This level of perception requires a quiet mind and a still ego. Consider the story of Reginald. Reginald was a venture capitalist who evaluated dozens of startup pitches every week. He was highly analytical and relied heavily on spreadsheets and financial projections. He was a fast talker and a quick thinker, but he was a terrible listener. He would often interrupt founders during their pitches, assuming he already knew what they were going to say. Reginald's firm was struggling. They had invested in several companies that looked great on paper but failed miserably in execution. Reginald could not understand why his rigorous analysis was failing him. He sought the advice of a senior partner, a man known for his uncanny ability to pick winners. The senior partner told Reginald, "Your problem is that you listen with your brain, not your heart. You hear the numbers, but you do not hear the people. The numbers can be manipulated, but the character of the founder cannot. You need to cultivate a Lev Shomea." Reginald decided to change his approach. During his next pitch meeting, he forced himself to remain completely silent for the first 20 minutes. He put away his phone and his spreadsheets. He just listened. He listened to the tone of the founder's voice. He watched their body language. He paid attention to how they responded to difficult questions. By quieting his own ego, Reginald began to perceive things he had previously missed. He noticed when a founder was exaggerating. He sensed when a team lacked true cohesion. He also recognized genuine passion and resilience that could not be quantified on a spreadsheet. His investment success rate skyrocketed because he had learned to use the most powerful tool in business: a listening heart. The King Prayer also requires us to confront our deepest fears about wealth. Many people subconsciously block their own financial success because they are afraid of what wealth will do to them. They fear it will make them greedy, arrogant, or isolated. They fear they will lose their spiritual connection. The King's Prayer neutralizes this fear. When you ask for an understanding heart to serve others, you are ensuring that your wealth will have a righteous purpose. You are building a spiritual container that can hold massive abundance without being corrupted by it. You are telling the universe, "I am safe to bless because I will use the blessing to elevate the world." Let us look at Isabella. Isabella was a brilliant artist who had a deep, subconscious fear of selling out. She believed that making money from her art would somehow taint its purity. As a result, she constantly underpriced her work and struggled to make a living. She was trapped in a mindset of noble poverty. Isabella learned about the King Prayer and realized that her fear was misplaced. She saw that wealth, when guided by an understanding heart, could be a powerful force for good. She began to pray, "God, give me the wisdom to value my work correctly and the understanding heart to use the proceeds to support other struggling artists." This shift in intention freed her from her fear. She confidently raised her prices to reflect the true value of her art. Because she was no longer projecting insecurity, collectors began to take her more seriously. Her income increased dramatically, and true to her prayer, she used a portion of her wealth to establish a grant program for young artists. Her wealth did not corrupt her. It amplified her ability to serve. The daily practice of the King Prayer is a process of continuous refinement. It is not a one-time event. Every morning, you must actively choose humility over arrogance. You must actively choose service over selfishness. You must actively choose a listening heart over a noisy ego. This requires discipline. It is easy to fall back into the habit of praying for quick fixes and easy money. When you face a financial crisis, the temptation is to panic and demand immediate relief. But the King Principle demands that even in the midst of a crisis, your primary request must be for wisdom. Think about Nathaniel. Nathaniel owned a manufacturing company that was hit hard by a sudden increase in raw material costs. His profit margins vanished overnight, and he was facing the prospect of laying off half his workforce. He was terrified. His initial instinct was to pray for a miracle, for the prices to drop, or for a massive new contract to appear out of nowhere. but he remembered the king prayer. He went into his office, closed the door, and prayed, "Creator, I do not know how to navigate this crisis. I am like a child. Give me a listening heart to understand the market and the wisdom to make decisions that will protect my employees and save this company." Nathaniel spent the next few days in deep, focused listening. He talked to his suppliers, his customers, and his floor managers. He did not just look at the numbers, he listened to the people. He discovered a massive inefficiency in their production process that had been ignored for years. By restructuring the workflow, he was able to reduce waste and offset the increased material costs without laying off a single employee. The crisis became a catalyst for improvement. The company emerged leaner, more efficient, and more profitable than before. Nathaniel's prayer for wisdom had saved his business, proving once again that an understanding heart is the ultimate financial asset. As you begin to incorporate this prayer into your daily life, be prepared for the universe to test your resolve. You will be presented with opportunities that promise quick riches but require you to compromise your integrity. You will face situations where your ego demands to be heard, and you must choose to listen instead. These tests are not punishments, they are the forge in which your vessel is strengthened. Every time you choose wisdom over greed, every time you choose service over selfishness, you expand your capacity to receive divine blessing. The exact prayer of the ancient king is an invitation to step into a higher dimension of wealth. It is a call to abandon the frantic, anxious pursuit of money and embrace the calm, powerful pursuit of understanding. It is the realization that true abundance is not measured by what you have, but by who you become. Make this prayer your daily companion. Let it shape your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions. Ask for the listening heart. Seek the wisdom to serve, and watch as the Creator of the universe responds by pouring out a blessing of riches and honor beyond your wildest imagination. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery. May you seek an understanding heart, and may your life be filled with the infinite abundance of the Creator. Shalom.